Hey, what up, guys? It is Nick the Quant, and today we got another post for our highest mathematical edge pick. Yesterday, the Kansas City Royals on the money line against the Reds that cashed. So congratulations to whoever cashed out on that. We had really strong really strong positive closing line value on the Royals that day. Me personally, I beat the closing line by over 25% on DraftKings, so it's always a great sign. Doesn't guarantee a win, but a win is planned. Royals really just slapped around the Reds the entire game, so good always to see both the mathematical / pricing edge and then the market confirmation kind of converge. That's always the goal. I beat the closing line on both of my picks yesterday, but unfortunately, my other pick, the White Sox, they just really underperformed and gave up a bunch of runs pretty fast. So, again, like I just said, it's never you can never be sure, but it's a good symptom that in the long run you are making the right type of bets. But before I get into this pick, as always, if you want access to all of my sports betting picks, not just my highest mathematical edge picks, you can check out my X account at NickTheQuant44. I run my model every morning, and the moment I get done running it, if I identify value, I post it immediately to my X account. I post the odds I'm getting it at, the model probability, the expected value, how much I'm risking, and what the potential profit is as far as the units go. So full transparency. For whoever sees my tweets, and I post it there immediately so you can act on it and get the best price possible. If you want more information regarding just kind of like my daily results and the highest mathematical edge picks themselves, you can go to my Instagram account, Nick the Quant. I post every day whatever those highest mathematical edge picks are. And then I also kind of like post daily results, stuff like that. And then furthermore, for like the analysis aspect of things, that would be this right here, which is on my YouTube, posting these videos. So saying that, we can get into today's highest mathematical edge pick. We got the San Diego Padres on the money line. So I got them at plus 123 odds. I got them at my model has them at a probability of a 54.29%. So we've got mathematical edge right there on a pretty solid underdog at plus 123 odds. Expected value, 21.07%, so very large expected value. Going to be risking 3.11%, or in other words, 3.11 units, as 1% of my bankroll represents 1 unit, for a potential profit of 3.82 units. So we can just jump into the math, kind of show you guys how I came to this conclusion through my model. I'll take you guys through the 9 interior models, like I always do. Kind of the same recipe as every other video, and if as time goes on and we just continue to accumulate data, I'm always doing data accumulation every day. So I do these predictions, but then I'm still just continuing to back test like years in the past, historical data, as far as how my model would have performed back then. That way these probabilities can just continue to become more and more reliable since their sample size will continue to increase. Dude, every video, I swear to God. Before I get into this, my ensemble model has 9 interior models. They're calibrated. So what that means is each ensemble model produces an initial prediction or an initial output. The calibration is how that initial prediction has been performing in the real world. So an example being, like the Rays today, my first model had them at a 52%, right? But in reality, that's been hitting 48.15% of the time. So their calibrated probabilities are 48.15. Now, how much these interior models will influence that initial, literal sabotage, I swear. How much that initial ensemble will affect that initial probability output that my ensemble creates is contingent upon how reliable these probabilities are, which again gets into how large your sample size is. So like the Rays, for example, that 52% initial output has a sample size of 108 games. So pretty decent, 108 games in that 52% initial prediction range, but that's been hitting 48.15%. So model 1 would say, okay, Rays 48.15%, the amount of volume being 102 samples. That's how every single interior model runs. So we can get into the math now as far as what these predictions are and get through our calibration layers. So Model 1 had the Phillies at a 50.72%. Model 2 had the Padres at a 63.64. Model 3 had the Phillies at a 44.34. Model 4 had the Phillies at a 50.85. Model 5 had the Phillies at a 54.55. Model 6 had the Padres at a 62.5. Model 7 had the Phillies at a 50. Model 8 had the Padres at a 48.57. And then Model 9 had the Padres at a 57.84. So that came out to the Padres being an initial favorite of a 51.57% probability. Then when we apply that second layer calibration, which is, again, taking into account first that initial prediction and then how it's been performing in the real world. We use empirical Bayes here. When my model produces 51% probabilities, they have a 67% hit rate so far, so they've been performing very well. That gives the Padres now a second layer calibrated probability of a 58.26%. Then we have to look at, okay, what market region are the Padres in? So the Padres are in the market region they're in is currently having a 47% win rate throughout this season. So relative to the market, a little disadvantageous at a 47%. Relative to their pricing, though, at plus 123, little advantageous, kind of on the indifferent side. But relative to the Phillies pricing, which would be the complement of this 53%, a little bit of a disadvantage for the Red Sox here. So applying this calibration now to what that second layer calibration probability was for the Padres, we get a finalized probability of the Padres being a 54.29%. So this kind of just brings us full circle back, right? 54.92% probability at those plus 123 odds. Got mathematical advantage, got significant pricing advantage. So that denotes high expected value at that 21.07%. We're using a 5.5 Kelly right now, so we're risking 3.11% for that potential profit of 3.82 units. So lock this pick in. Let's just continue performing well. Things have been going good. This calendar week, I wasn't able to bet 2 days this week, so this week's been a little light, slightly profitable, more so at a break even right now, considering just I haven't been able to bet many days. But we're coming off that 8-unit week prior. So let's just continue stacking, of course. And as always, if you want access to all my picks, like all my picks today, please check out Mac's account at Nick the Quant 44. So I'll see you guys.